Girl, y'all need to get in on this ASAP because it looks like the streets have finally figured out why Ben Affleck really upped and dumped J.Lo. Word on the streets is that it all has to do with Diddy. And surprise, surprise, it looks like J.Lo was still involved with Diddy on the low. For the longest time, people thought J.Lo's connection to Diddy ended with that nightclub back in the 90s. The one where Shyne ended up taking the blame. However, the streets are now saying that she was allegedly still involved in this drama long after they broke up. But the really spicy part is that some people are now saying Ben Affleck knew about all of it, and that's the real reason he walked away before things got messy. But what exactly did he find out, and was Diddy really blackmailing J.Lo with some sketchy footage of her allegedly getting it on with some of his victims? Let's talk about it. If there's one person who has clearly had a history with Diddy, it's Jennifer Lopez. She spent years trying to downplay their relationship, acting like it wasn't that serious, but anyone who remembers the late 90s knows the deal. They were the it couple, always in the spotlight, and there's been plenty of talk over the years about how deep their connection really was. A lot of people believe J.Lo was Diddy's ride or die, and that she knew a lot more about what was going on behind the scenes than she's ever admitted. For whatever reason though, the full story of their relationship has always been kept quiet. Sure, we all knew they were together, but the whispers never stopped. People have been saying for years that there was way more to it, especially when it comes to the 1999 nightclub. That incident was a turning point, and even though she was right there when it all went down, J.Lo has always kept her version of events vague. She's built this image of being innocent, like she just got caught up in the whirlwind of Diddy's lifestyle and had no idea what he was really involved in. But for some fans, it's always felt like she was hiding something. The real story behind that club makes J.Lo's role seem a little less innocent than she's let on. That night, she and Diddy were out in Times Square partying at a club to celebrate Shyne's upcoming album. Shyne was only 21 at the time, just breaking into the industry, and J.Lo was still early in her career too. As they were leaving the club, Diddy was holding a champagne bottle and accidentally bumped into this guy named Matthew Allen, aka Scar. Scar wasn't having it and shoved Diddy, and that's when things got heated. Then one of Scar's friends threw a stack of cash in Diddy's face, which he clearly took as a major insult. And just like that, Diddy allegedly pulled out a and were fired. Everything turned chaotic in seconds. When it was all over, 3 people were hurt, including a woman named Natanya Rubin, who was reportedly shot in the face. And some say Diddy was the one who pulled the trigger. Meanwhile, Diddy and J.Lo didn't stick around once things went down. As soon as the shots rang out, they took off, jumping into a Lincoln Navigator that had a hidden in the back. But the wild part is that they didn't even get caught because of the They were pulled over for running a red light while attempting to make a hasty escape. At the police station, both of them had to take mug shots. J.Lo was reportedly a total mess, crying nonstop. At one point, they even handcuffed her to a pole. Then her mom showed up, yelling at her in Spanish like, "I told you to stay away from him." Her mom clearly saw that Diddy was bad news from the beginning, and honestly, she wasn't wrong. To make things even crazier, J.Lo ended up letting Diddy's legal team use her name to help him get out of the charges tied to the whole situation. One of his lawyers reportedly told the judge, "I don't know if you know this, judge, but this person, Jennifer Lopez, is a very famous actress. To think Mr. Combs is walking around with her with a loaded it's so ridiculous that it stretches the imagination." Somehow that defense actually worked, and Diddy walked away without any charges. But according to recent claims, J.Lo's involvement in that whole situation might have gone way deeper than just letting him use her name. In Lil Rod's lawsuit, he said Diddy straight up admitted that J.Lo was the one who brought the into the club in the first place. And if that wasn't wild enough, she supposedly handed it to him when things got heated with Scar and told him to start. Wait, what now? The lawsuit stated he revealed that the artist and Mr. Combs' girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, aka J.Lo, brought the to the club for him and handed it over after he got into an altercation. Yeah, it's pretty clear that J.Lo was deep in it. When it came to Diddy, she was all the way gone. In fact, she even admitted in an interview that even though Diddy was out here cheating on her, she was still madly in love with him and would have done anything for him. Child, he had that girl wrapped around his finger with no hesitation. She said, "It was the first time I was with someone who wasn't faithful. I was in a relationship with Puff where I was totally crying, crazy, and going nuts. It really took my whole life in a tailspin." Well, fans are saying that J.Lo was so deep in Diddy's world, she was willing to do whatever he asked, including allegedly taking part in those infamous freak-offs. Even after they broke up, she was allegedly still dealing with him behind the scenes. There's a blind item floating around that claims 50 Cent said J.Lo was still messing with Diddy, even while she was married to other men. And when Diddy started diving into his wild freak-off lifestyle, rumor has it J.Lo was right there in the mix, fully involved in the madness. But before we even get into that blind item, let's not skip over the fact that the feds kind of hinted at this in their indictment paperwork on Diddy. Like, they didn't drop her name directly, but if you read between the lines, the document said the defendant engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of toward women and other individuals. This was at times verbal, emotional, physical, and as part of his pattern of Combs manipulated women to participate in highly orchestrated performances of activity with male commercial workers. At times, Combs and others acting at his direction made arrangements for women and commercial workers to fly to Combs' location. Combs ensured participation from the women by, among other things, obtaining and distributing to them, controlling their careers, leveraging his financial support, and threatening to cut off the same, and using intimidation and it also said the defendant used the Combs business, including certain employees, to carry out, facilitate, and cover up his and commercials. Those employees, including security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and high-ranking supervisors and other close associates, acted as Combs' intermediaries, and their conduct was facilitated and assisted by Combs' control of the Combs business. The feds also revealed that they have been monitoring Diddy's so-called freak-off parties for years, and that multiple big-name celebs have been involved in the freak-offs. The document said Combs and other members and associates of the Combs enterprise wielded the power and prestige of Combs' role at the Combs business to intimidate, threaten, and lure female victims into Combs' orbit, often under the pretense of a romantic relationship. Combs then used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended acts with male commercial workers that Combs referred to as, among other things, freak-offs. Alright, now let's get into that blind item. Word on the street is that 50 Cent claimed J.Lo wasn't just at those freak-offs, she was actually participating in them. And here's where it gets real messy. He allegedly said that some of the people J.Lo was messing around with at these parties weren't even of legal age. According to an insider, 50 didn't just keep that info to himself. Allegedly, he gave everything to the feds, including video footage showing J.Lo at those parties with those young boys. Now look, we all know 50's got a personal vendetta when it comes to Diddy. He's been throwing shots at him for years, so it's not shocking that he'd be the one dropping this kind of bomb. But now he's taking it a step further than just throwing shade on social media. Handing that footage over to the feds is bound to get Diddy and J.Lo into even deeper trouble. Child, when that documentary of his finally comes out, it's going to be a whole mess. The blind item said 50 Cent is reportedly giving wires to the Hollywood friends that the FBI have naught tapes of Jennifer Lopez having intercourse with underage girls and boys at the P. Diddy freak-off parties, and Lopez was caught in several naught tapes that were seized by the FBI in the P. Diddy house's raids. That's the reason Ben Affleck and Lopez are getting divorced, as the FBI informed Affleck of the videos and future indictments coming. Well, the streets are now saying that the feds might be naming J.Lo before the trial ends. Now, we don't know if they're naming her as one of Diddy's co-conspirators, as a victim, or if they're just calling her to the stand to testify. During the course of this trial, we have seen some witnesses called who fans think were not exactly on the straight and narrow. And like the bodyguard who admitted to taking a $100,000 bribe to keep his mouth shut about the Cassie situation. So yeah, it's kind of hard to tell what direction this is going to take, but according to fans, if there is one person who allegedly knows the truth about all this, it's Ben Affleck. Ben and J.Lo have known each other for about 23 years because they first dated from 2002 to 2005. Even after their breakup, they continued to have a great friendship. There are rumors that he only divorced J.Lo to avoid being dragged into the legal mess because he allegedly knows the true story of how deep J.Lo was in with Diddy. Child, so does this mean that Ben might be called on by the feds too? And why has he been hiding J.Lo and Diddy's secrets? Was he involved in their freaky activities? Girl, something tells me that this is about to get even messier before it's over. But y'all let me know what you think about this, then check out this next video.